What do you mean?
The green bag, the green bag. All right. Come on, come on. I don't know what he wants out here, but come on.
And the car just managed to squeeze by on the right side.
It was a defining moment of the 2020 protests in Seattle. A car drives through a demonstration on I-5.
You were blocking on the north side of the group, southbound?
We were here.
And now, 4 years later, the evidence the public hasn't seen.
This was a terrible tragedy that was preventable.
A courtroom fight over who is responsible for the death of protester Summer Taylor.
I get that girl's blood all over my hands trying to help her out. And somehow it's still our fault.
And whether Washington freeways are a venue for free speech.
It is never safe for pedestrians to be on I-5.
Measures could have been taken to not allow people to be on the freeway, period. That's what should have happened.
In the summer of 2020, following the police murder of George Floyd, protests had swept across the country. By mid-June, protesters here in Seattle had a new tactic of marching onto Interstate 5. On July 3rd, 2020, it had become almost a nightly routine when protesters marched onto the highway. That set into motion a series of events that would lead to the death of Summer Taylor and questions about whether the protesters assumed the risk by going on the highway or whether the state patrol failed to protect them. And what role did city leaders in Seattle and even the governor play in encouraging the protests?
What do you mean?
The green bag, the green bag.
All right.
Come on. There it is, right there, right there. I don't know about the maze, but I don't know what he wants out here, but come on.
When the first Seattle police officers arrived at the scene on I-5,
Diaz, we love you so much.
There you go.
We've got you. We love you so much.
it was chaos.
We tried getting everyone off the freeway. We were literally screaming to get everyone off the freeway. They were further back.
Okay.
They were just further back from our group, but they just didn't get out of the way. Darn.
Protesters said a driver had just plowed through their group, and there were even reports that someone in the car fired a gun at them.
This is the best. Fireworks, guys, fireworks.
Bro, listen, bro. I'm paranoid, bro.
No, I get it. You got people here with you, okay?
I'm paranoid, bro. I'm scared as bro.
As police and medics began life-saving efforts on the protesters, they quickly learned another member of the group had just chased down the suspect a few miles south on I-5.
Driver of the Jaguar, put your hands out the window.
Who else is in the car, man?
This is DeWitt Khalid,
I prefer not to say anything.
and his Jaguar had the obvious signs of what happened.
Have you had anything to drink or anything tonight?
No.
What's up?
Let me see. For not the criminal ones.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys know what happened. You guys probably set up this whole...
As police arrested Khalid back at the protest scene, it was a race against time to save Summer Taylor's life.
You guys know how to get to Harborview?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, our protesters, 2 times they've been trying to get murdered. Can we have someone on them watching them?
And officers and protesters began asking the same question.
We saw a car coming at us out of nowhere at like 80 miles an hour.
How did Khalid get onto I-5 when troopers and transportation crews had already closed it down?
Yeah, he also had to find a way creatively to get out here because they already had the freeway closed.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about all the on-ramps and stuff, man.
No, that's I was talking to the trooper in charge. She knew which ones were closed, which ones were open.
Investigators say Khalid tried to get on the highway at the Yale Street on-ramp, but it was closed off by police. That's where this video picks up. You see his white Jaguar come into frame, then stop here at the Stewart Street off-ramp. He waits before driving past the flashing wrong-way sign. He goes up the off-ramp, and seconds later, you see Khalid's car heading south on the closed freeway, less than half a mile from the protest group standing on I-5 and seconds from disaster.
The community as a whole held its breath when this incident happened to understand why it happened.
Khalid was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to vehicular homicide in 2023.
He knew that the freeway was closed, and he was trying to take a shortcut home.
And while we know what happened that night, the question now in court is who bears responsibility for it. Taylor's family filed a lawsuit claiming this freeway protest was legal, saying, quote, the authorities never publicly declared the demonstration illegal and never gave a dispersal warning to the marchers to leave or face arrest. The lawsuit also claims Governor Jay Inslee and then Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan made public statements supporting the protesters and promising not to prosecute them.
This was a terrible tragedy that was preventable. The negligence here is shared by Mr. Khalid and the state of Washington. The protesters should not be blamed.
Karen Kohler is the attorney representing Summer Taylor's family. The civil trial just started in Seattle, seeking damages from the state of Washington, claiming that state troopers should have stationed someone at the off-ramp to prevent Khalid from driving up it.
0. 0 is the number of vehicles, of cones, of flares, of anything trying to block off the Stewart Street off-ramp.
Kohler also said the State Patrol had a responsibility to order the protesters to leave the freeway and arrest them if they didn't.
Because what could they have done? Some of you might think, what should they have done? They should have said, don't go up on that freeway. If you do, we're going to arrest you. The rules were changed because the freeway was converted from a zone where traffic went back and forth to a protest zone, and that decision was made by the state.
But the Washington Attorney General's office is defending the State Patrol's actions that night.
Every action the state took in this was reasonable.
That's Steve Hughes. He's a senior counsel for the AG's office.
You're not allowed to knowingly, intentionally drive the wrong way up an exit ramp to a freeway.
For the love of Pete, pedestrians are prohibited from going on the freeway.
It's difficult for me to believe that I need to say that out loud, but here we are, and I am going to say it out loud.
The State Patrol did close the freeway to protect protesters, and Hughes says troopers didn't station someone at the off-ramp because there are already signs warning drivers about it. Warnings that Hughes says Khalid knowingly ignored.
He knew it was an exit ramp. He knew it was illegal to drive the wrong way up that exit ramp, and he did it anyway.
In the state's view, it's Khalid and the protesters who carry the blame for the tragedy.
The protesters yelled to the State Patrol, "We're going to do this every day. We're going to do this every day until our demands are met."
For the future, if you put a plan in place and present it to them, we can provide you with motorcycles, traffic escorts, and bike cops. They're not going to be there to hinder what you're trying to do, but they will be there to provide you traffic support, okay?
The tactic of freeway takeover protests came back to Seattle this year when pro-Palestine demonstrators shut down I-5. They blocked the freeway for 4 hours, and while the State Patrol was mounting a response, the protesters dispersed on their own. Do protesters have any right to use interstate freeways for free speech in Washington?
No. No, it's against the law.
Representative Andrew Barkis wants Washington lawmakers to increase penalties against protesters who block freeways.
I really believe that you have to have accountable measures put into place. That's why we have laws. That's why we have these penalties. We have seen such a move away from that in every aspect of public safety in Washington State, and we're seeing the outcomes of that.
Barkis says he's concerned the protests will continue, and not just targeting freeways, but also critical infrastructure like SeaTac Airport, which was blocked for hours by a demonstration this summer.
Look what happened at SeaTac here not too long ago. You know, same thing. 2.5, 3 hours of disruption of people's lives trying to get to the airport, pilots, flights, and the ripple effect throughout the whole airline industry right from SeaTac because of that action.
His proposal would make it a felony to organize a freeway protest. He hopes lawmakers will sign off on it in January's legislative session.
I hope my colleagues can see that there is a sentiment in Washington State surrounding all of public safety. I think that people are really demanding, the constituents and citizens are demanding more accountability,